Hello, this is Brian Mosteller. Here we are on SC Conversation again. Glad to have everybody viewing this week. This week we have some candidates for the Greenville County School Board, Area 27. We have Sarah Dulin and Warren Bouzek. So I want to welcome you guys to the show.
Thank you.
First question I have is, tell us a little bit about yourself. Sarah?
I'm Sarah Dulin. I am from the upstate, though I didn't move to Greenville until I was in high school, and I am a JLman graduate, class of 1996. I went to the College of Charleston, and I love Charleston. I lived there for 20 years before coming back to be closer to my family here. I am married, and I have 4 children, all in elementary school or younger. So that is what keeps me so busy right now. But before having all the children, I worked as a contractor through BabyNet for children with special needs when ages birth to 3, and then transitioned them into public school when they were ready to make sure that their therapies and the services that they needed continued. So that's where my professional background is, with children with special needs and therapy. I also have been a small business owner, and I am not doing that currently because I have so many children, but I also understand the business side of it. So,
Okay.
in a nutshell.
Okay. Warner?
Warner Bouzek. I moved to Greenville in 1985 to manage Bennigan's on Haywood Road, and in '91 I opened Stakeout, which I operated until 2006 and sold, and now own King Tut Grill in Simpsonville. I've been fairly involved in the community. I served 3 years as upstate chairman of the Friends of the NRA. I served as a board member for the first charter school, which was Fresh Start Academy, which we opened in the 90s to accommodate the kids that had been expelled from school and needed a way. And that's the first time I kind of felt called into the education, just to make sure those kids had some way to still get an education. And basically the same reason I'm feeling I need to get involved now is because the schools are closed. They're going 1 day a week. They're going to move them up to 2 days a week. And I think that you've eliminated the mentors. You've eliminated the education. A lot of these kids that are 16, 17, they're not going to keep up. They're going to be left behind permanently. We're going to have a whole generation that's going to be left behind. And I just felt called to do what I can to help.
Okay. So, Sarah, tell us a little bit about why you're running for the school board.
I thought about it for a while, and I looked at the school board and the diversity that's on there currently, and there's really not that much diversity. A lot of the school board members have been on for 16 or 20 years, and I can't really see that they've made a huge difference in the quality of schools here, especially when it comes to test scoring and graduation rates. So I also looked to see who were parents on the board, and there's only one dad of a Greenville County school student. And that's just not right. So I decided I would do it. Okay. I've got 4 children. The youngest is not going to graduate for 16 more years, so I have got a decade and a half of depending on these schools to be excellent. And I think that mothers should be represented on the board too. Someone needs to be there that's in touch with what the young children are going through.
I agree. I mean, those are great points. I mean, you know, when you're a parent, you see a lot of the stuff firsthand that other people don't see. So I think that's great. Warner?
Well, the current system is just a monstrosity. that is not responsive to the parents. We have an administrator that makes more than a United States senator, and it's just ridiculous. It needs to be broken into smaller districts. We need a school board that can transition from a large, huge district into smaller districts. We need to make sure the kids immediately get back into school somehow. We've got empty churches all over town. We could have teachers teaching from the pulpit. The kids could be scattered throughout the pews so they don't come in contact with each other. We've got Textile Hall that's sitting over there empty with thousands of tables and hundreds of thousands of square feet of space that could be used to teach the kids. It could be done, but the administration just says it can't be done, and then the board just follows suit and says, well, if they say it can't be done, it can't be done, and nobody's tried to solve any problems. And we need people to get on the board and solve these problems.
What do you think the communication's like on the board? Because I've talked to several people, and they don't think the board members are actually talking to each other, much less their constituents and the people who elected them. So if you were elected to the school board, how would you kind of solve that, or put a better communication plan in?
I don't know that they don't often speak to each other. I'm not really sure that's accurate.
Okay.
I know they have small groups and they meet with them regularly. When it comes to talking with parents, and really teachers also, I don't think a lot of parents have reached out to their board member. Most don't even know who it is. So there's a problem. If they do reach out, as I have, not everybody gets a response, and some people get really demeaning, ugly responses that is incredibly unprofessional. I feel like a lot of parents are being talked down to when they bring up their concerns for their children, and it's just unacceptable. There's no room for that in public service.
Warner?
Well, I just think that the kids right now are in Fountain Inn, which is our district. It may be 50 degrees and they're left out of school because somebody decided that you can't run a school bus in Pickens. And that's just like they don't respond to the parents' needs in any way. So you've got the whole district, they're not accountable to the parents, and some of the school board members responded to say, well, we're not babysitters. Well, they absolutely are accountable to the parents, and they're accountable to the kids, and they're accountable to the community, but they don't feel that way. They feel like they're just accountable to each other and to the things that they decide they want to do to make their job easier. And if they just want to cancel school for the whole district, we'll just cancel school for the whole district. It's easier on us. But then you've got hundreds of thousands of parents that have got to make immediate responses to that. And if the board can't respond to the parents and the administration can't respond to the parents, then they're just not doing their job.
Right. So with all the COVID pandemic going on, there's a lot of concern about how schools are started back or not starting back. What's your take on that, how everything is going right now?
Well, I give them a pass in March because there was a new unknown threat. No one really knew what was going to happen with COVID and if it was really dangerous. And everybody, I think, understands that schools closed. We went to e-learning. It wasn't a huge success, but the teachers absolutely did the best they could with no notice. Okay, well, that was 6 months ago. We haven't made any progress. We know so much more about COVID now. The district has made the choice, gave everyone a choice that didn't want to go to school to say, you can sign up for the virtual program and learn online for a year if you want to. But they didn't give a choice to the families and students that want to go to school every day. So personally, I think if there's a risk and a choice is given and you can learn at home or you can learn at school, knowing the risks, that choice should be up to the families or the parents to choose, and the teachers can choose which one they want. And I don't see what the problem is. Everybody knows the risk. It's your choice. I always think that families should have a choice.
I agree. You have to find a way to get these kids in school 5 days a week. They have to be in school full time. Their futures depend on it, and that's what they should be worried about.
So what do you think about, I know just this week, DHEC has kind of changed some of its guidelines or some of its testing results, if you will. Those are some of the things that the Greenville County schools are going off of. Do you think they'll make quick changes, or do you think those will be slow?
They don't seem to adapt very quickly to anything. They have historically they have not. I don't think that that really is the number one issue. I think the number one issue is that we find a way to socially distance the kids and keep the kids safe, regardless of what the county is, and get the kids in school. And that if that becomes the focus, rather than just saying we're going to find a way to teach them at home, then we start looking to solve the real problems.
Sarah?
Yes.
So with the DHEC new findings and the CDC's coming out with new things, do you think the Greenville County administration will push the kids back into school quicker, or do you think they will not?
I think it's an ego problem at this point, that they've set up this plan and so they're going to go by these statistics. And we know that DHEC's numbers aren't totally accurate. They've admitted they're not counting all the tests. They're counting the deaths somewhat incorrectly. And they're not saying how the children are really affected physically. There's not a count for how many children are sick, how many children are hospitalized. Is that really an issue? It's just so much unknown still. And the DHEC numbers are unknown, in my opinion.
Right.
So I think that they should go from come up with another policy, or get DHEC to report their numbers correctly, and then say, oh, well, maybe it's not as bad as DHEC was making it out to be.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, here we are at SC Conversation. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. I would like to take this time to thank all of the wonderful people and businesses who are sponsoring this show. When you visit the businesses, be sure to go in and tell them thank you for sponsoring SC Conversation.
Hardwood flooring is the most popular kind of flooring, and no one has a larger selection of hardwood flooring than Greer Flooring Center. Remember, you'll always find what you're looking for at the price you're looking for at Greer Flooring Center.
Hey, Upstate, Dave Ramsey here to tell you about our investing ELPs, Roger Sims and Jason Carr at Sims & Carr Financial Solutions. Roger and Jason are the only people I personally endorse for investing right here in the Upstate. They specialize in retirement planning, 401k rollovers, as well as mutual funds and other investments. I personally recommend Roger Sims and Jason Carr of Sims & Carr Financial Solutions. Call Roger and Jason today at 879-0337. That's 879-0337.
Today's luxury vinyl tiles are not just durable, they provide beauty for your home. And Greer Flooring Center has the largest selection of luxury vinyl tiles and planks in the Upstate. Visit the Greer Flooring showroom to see these exciting new products.
Okay, welcome back. We're here with Sarah and Warner, and we're talking with them about the Greenville County School Board, the Greenville County School Board candidates for Area 27. One of the next questions is about Greenville County is the largest district and county in the state. So people have said they would like it broken up into districts. Now, I know that'll mean a lot of work and things like that, but I'm not asking you, would you agree to do that today, but would you at least agree to have an independent contractor or company come in and do an investigation as to whether that would be beneficial for the district, for the parents, the kids, and the communities? So,
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. It's worth studying. I wouldn't want the district office to do the study themselves. I think it's important to have a neutral party come in to do that. And then I don't think it's even something the board would be able to vote on. I think it has to go to the public, so it would need to be on a ballot, maybe in 2022 at the earliest.
yes. Warner?
I don't know. I've seen studies and I've seen government entities do studies, and really all they're doing is trying to pass things further and further down the road. I think that we just need to bring it straight to the parents and straight to the voters and express the different options. And then we need a really strong group that can help through the transition and make sure that it's smooth. I don't think there's any question it needs to be split. I mean, if it's so great to have a big district, why don't we just have one district statewide? You know, why do all the other counties, Spartanburg and Pickens, why do they have several districts? Because it works better, because it's more responsive to the parents, and it doesn't just feed this huge administration. I can't say that a study would be a harmful thing. I just don't think it's necessary, and oftentimes I think it's just a way to punt.
Okay, okay. Since both of you guys are running for the school board, I'm assuming you've talked to some parents and you've talked to teachers and kids. What are some of the things that you've heard from teachers, and how would you resolve some of those issues with what you've heard from them?
I actually reached out to all of the teachers in District 27 and asked for them to tell me what they thought, and anonymously, so that they could really tell me what they really thought without fear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of them said the same thing. They're really frustrated that the district is not doing what's best for the kids. They're glad that there were options given during this pandemic, but they don't appreciate being told that they needed to teach in the classroom and teach students at home and not have any breaks and not have access to schools on Friday, and, by the way, not get paid more this year. If it were me, I would be thinking about leaving that job too. I know some already have. It's a huge failure on the district's part to put teachers in that position. Also, teachers are parents, and they're having to figure out what to do with their children that are having to e-learn and only go to school one day, or next week 2 days a week. It's just a horrible plan, in my opinion. Also, the parents that I speak to, I mean, many have chosen to homeschool or go to private school. Some have chosen the virtual program. Everyone else wants their children in 5 days a week. Not one parent has said, I love my child going to school 1 day a week. It's the greatest thing for us. Not one. Nobody wants that. The children don't even want it. I don't know how the board could vote for something that literally nobody wants.
Right. Yeah. Warner?
Well, I've met with a couple of the teachers after school book clubs and tried to get some personal feedback that way. And there are a few teachers that think it's a good idea for them not to have the kids in school full time, and they agree that there aren't any good solutions, but that's a very small minority. Most of them think it's a total disaster. And that's what's been expressed. You know, they just throw their hands up in the air. They don't, you know, they've got 15 empty classrooms. I think they said at Hillcrest Middle right now that aren't even being used at all. I mean, how can you not have social distancing when you have 15 empty classrooms? They don't feel the administration has done their job either, as a majority of them. There are a few that have said that are on board.
Okay. What are one or two issues where you feel that you could make a real change, or you would make a change, or propose a change be made that would be beneficial to not only the students but also the teachers?
So I have a huge plan for adding 2 grades to Greenville County schools. I think it's ridiculous that they don't offer preschool for 3- and 4-year-olds. every 3 and 4-year-old that want it, that's not mandatory, but if their family wants it, there could be class for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. Then they will already have a jump when it comes to kindergarten. They'll have a head start. All studies show that early literacy is one of the huge benefits of preschool, and that for children that go to preschool, they start out kindergarten ahead, they start out first grade ahead, they start out second grade ahead, and that continues until their high school test scores are higher than everyone else's. And if we look at it, if it's just a few children, that doesn't make a huge difference for the county. But if it's open to everyone, granted, it would take 12 to 14 years, but by the time those children finish high school, it makes a 2.5% difference in their grade. And, you know, for one grade, that's not a big deal, but if it's for every grade, for every student, that's a huge jump in test scores. And I don't know that Greenville has really addressed how bad our test scores are compared to the national scores. You know, South Carolina's always at the bottom of education. Maybe the answer isn't putting in more resources in high school. Maybe it's really starting earlier and making sure that the kids have the best foundation for school when they're young and open to learning. So that's one thing I would really like to do. I'd also like to take some of those preschool and kindergarten classes and early elementary school classes and offer a Montessori choice. Other districts do it, and it's very popular, and I don't know why Greenville hasn't started. We have 2 universities here that offer Montessori education courses and certification. One is Clemson and the other is Lander, and they have great programs, and Greenville isn't even utilizing that. So I think that would be another way to offer choice to families if they want it.
Can you explain to the viewers a little bit about what Montessori choice is?
So Montessori is a different style of learning, a different style of classroom where children, children are more self-led, where they can choose the things that they're interested in. And the teachers still guide them and make sure that all of the things that they need to learn are taught and met. But it's not for everyone, but for those that want it, it would be a great, great option. Yeah. It teaches children how to be more independent and self-sufficient starting early.
Okay, good, thank you. Warner, 1 or 2 issues where you think?
I think it's, short term. I think immediately. I do not believe that COVID's going to go away. I don't think we're going to have a vaccine. We've been 30 years waiting for HIV, and they've never found one for the cold. So we are going to have to adapt to deal with it, and we have to do it sooner rather than later. And like I said before, whether that means moving kids into churches, into industrial buildings, using the empty classrooms now, whatever it takes, we've got to get the kids to where they're back on having their lunches every day, and they're back structured in a classroom and learning a structured life rather than an extended summer vacation with a little bit of summer school. Okay.
What do you think? I don't know if either one of you have kids in sports, but what do you think about the sports and how it's being handled in Greenville County right now? I mean, they're trying to get kids out on the fields, but do you really think that's a good idea? I mean, either way, I mean, how can a kid play something with with a mask on, play a sport? So, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah. Sports are a choice. And if you choose to play them, then all sports come with a risk. Even last year they came with risk. Mm-hmm. For the last decades they have. So if you choose to play, that's your choice. If you are worried about COVID, then sit this year out. That's also your choice. And no judgment, that's your choice. So I think that students, if they want to play sports and the coaches want to coach them, great. And if spectators want to come and watch, great. We want you to, if that's your choice. If you're scared of COVID and you don't want to be in the crowd, then stay at home. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Warner?
I do have a daughter that's playing volleyball, and they've just started back and practicing a few days a week, and I'm very glad. I think that other than your teachers and your Sunday school teachers, your coaches are probably one of the most important influences in a child's life. You know, quite often the mentors, especially because they're coaching something that the children are really interested in and excited about. And I think that given that, and as she said, I agree 100%. It's a personal choice. America is all about having your personal choice. And the people that don't want to play or don't want to commit, that's totally fine. But the ones that want to play and are willing to take the minimal risk that they see out there, and the kids maybe aren't exposed to a grandparent every day when they get home or whatever they feel, I think the kids need to be able to have sports.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're getting toward the end here, so take about a minute, each one of you, and give us a little closing statement here, your selling point on for voting for you for the school board.
Thank you. I would appreciate your vote. I feel very strongly that school should go back to 5 days immediately. I know it's 2 days next week. That's just not enough. I don't know why we want to prolong this bad decision. I think we should go back right away. Also, once we are back right away, there are plans for the next 4 years that I'd like to start implementing. So I can't do that unless I'm on the board.
Okay. Warner?
Well, I as well would like your vote. I'm running because I think I can solve problems. You know, for 15 years, I ran Stakeout. When it would snow, we were the go-to for Duke Power. They would call us, even the North Carolina, they would call us. We would go set up an outdoor kitchen in one of their lay-down yards and feed their entire crews in the middle of an ice storm when everybody else was closed. We just learned how to solve problems, and that's what I think I have to offer.
Okay. Well, thanks to the guest here, Sarah, Warner. Good luck to you, not only in the school board, but in the future. But thanks for all you're doing to bring all this stuff into light right now. So thanks again from SC Conversation for watching, and have a great evening. Thanks again to our guests and our wonderful sponsors. Remember, you can stay informed about SC Conversation during the week on our Facebook page and website. Also, feel free to send us an email at info@scconversation.com. Thanks for watching, and have a great evening.